With this slide, we are going to present an overview of the TrackFin classifications by sharing an example of mapping the TrackFin classifications for a single expenditure. The watch sector, with financial flows entering the sector, is represented by the gray cloud. All the activities and goods and services that are provided for wash are inside the cloud, and everything else, that is, everything outside of the wash sector, is outside the cloud. The top half of the diagram represents the revenue side. The bottom half of the diagram represents the expenses side. We will walk through an example to understand the concept of mapping. At the center of the watch sector, we have those actors or entities that are providing wash services. These are the P classifications, wash providers. In this example, we have P2, which is network corporate providers. Imagine, for example, that you have a utility providing water through a network system. At the top of the cloud, we have those entities that provide funds for the wash sector or wash service. These are the wash funding units, FU, and in this case, for network corporate provider, the users are providing funds, FU1. Users are paying for drinking water through FT1 tariffs. So, the FU and the FT together provide information on the sources of funding for the wash sector. This shows the information on the wash sector revenue, that is, the top part of the cloud, and how funds reach the P, wash provider. Now, we will start looking at how the funds are spent on the expenses side, that is, the bottom part of the cloud. Now we have the cost. In this case, imagine that the utility spends the funds on operations and maintenance costs, which is C2. With the P classification and the C classification, we have information on the provision of wash goods and services. Finally, we have several classifications that tell us how wash goods and services were used and consumed. For example, we have the wash service. In this case, the expenditure is being spent on water supply service through a large network system, which is S11. The service is provided to households, which is U1. This is the use of the wash service. The service is provided to an urban area, which is A1. And then for optional classification for the region, in this case, imagine that this service is being provided for urban households in the Northwest region, R1. And of course, we also have the emergency classifications, which in this example country is not being used. This gives you an idea of how the TrackFin classifications can be applied to a single expenditure. The idea is to complete this process of mapping for all of the classifications for every single expenditure that is included in the wash account study.